Hi guys, and welcome back to the Zeze Millz show. I am Zeze Millz, and today we have an actual legend in the building. 2006 me is screaming internally right now because we have AKON in the building. I was saying to, as you walked in, to my camera guy, that's AKON, like AKON's here. This is weird because I've grown up on you. I remember you from when I was younger, and to now have you sitting here is such a weird feeling to me. But I'm very honoured that you've come and sat down and you're ready to have a conversation. But it is always so weird to me when I have people that I listened to at school. I remember songs. Do you know what I mean? How songs are placed in your life, what they meant at the time. I still remember everyone at school singing "Locked Up" and how big it was, and it's a very, I'm fangirling out. I'm having a moment right now, but we'll get down to all the nitty and gritty. How are you feeling? How are you?
Man, I'm actually feeling amazing, but I can relate to that feeling.
Really?
'Cause that's how I felt when I was working with Michael Jackson.
See,
You know what I'm saying?
I love
Like-
when you just dropped it in there, like, because you've worked.
No, but I get it.
You've worked with so many people though, have like
Right.
absolute like legends. What was it like working with Michael Jackson since you
Man, it was like, wow, I can't believe I was working with him. Like, it just being in the same room, creating. Like, just imagine, like you said, looking up to somebody, you know, their songs became your childhood memories,
Right,
right?
yeah.
And then you find yourself creating records for other people's childhood memories with the person that you had childhood memories with. Like, it's just crazy. It was amazing.
do you think people remember and appreciate all that AKON has done and achieved? Because when I was reading up on you and looking, there's loads of things that I have even forgot. Like I was reading, I was like, shit, AKON was the one that bust Lady Gaga. But we all know this, but as time goes on, it's things that kind of slip our mind because we grow up, the world is moving so fast. Do you think people like appreciate your legacy and everything that you've contributed to the music industry and scene?
No, I think it's actually well received and well appreciated. Sometimes you may not physically acknowledge the appreciation yourself because it's so much going on around that you don't, sometimes you don't know the nucleus of where it comes from.
Right.
But you can see the moments that you spend with something that might have been contributed by me. And there's some kids that don't even know who I am, but they're in love with what I created. So
Right.
that to me has always been enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's still weird. It's still weird to me that people, the younger generation, you're saying they might not know who you are, but it's like, why would they not? Because to me, that blows my mind that there's younger kids. But
Right.
it's true because
No, but it's
I'm
true.
33 now, so it's true. There's certain things, and I see it all the time with TikTok, like when songs get remixed, and I'm like, do you even know who made this original song?
Right.
And they think it's this. This is the version of, and you're like, no. This is the real thing. How do you? It was before we started. We were streaming. You were streaming live on TikTok, and we was both having a conversation about TikTok and how weird it is. For me personally, I can't seem to crack it. It's just a weird space.
Right.
But how have you also managed to move with the times? But I feel like you move with the times, but it doesn't feel corny when you move with the times. I feel like there's some people, they move with the times and you can see the almost like the desperation of like, I must connect with the younger audience
Right,
again.
right.
I have to. But it doesn't feel like that with you. How do you manage to like navigate that?
No, because I think most people especially on the entertainment side, everyone has been growing their career around a specific image.
Right, okay.
And images is something you have to keep up. Like, you got to reinvent yourself every year after that image expires, right? So I knew I could never do that. I was always the most probably genuine creator because the majority of my records always came through experiences. I was always who I was. But what helped me was the fact that I started as a songwriter, producer. So I would write songs for other people, produce for other people. And for me, it was just a hobby. So I just did it for the fact that it was just fun to do. So coming into the business, it was something fun to do that I got paid to do. So even today, like when I'm making songs for TikTok or making an EP with the partnership with them, it's just something fun to do. And it just comes off natural. Whereas there's not a specific image that I have to keep up or a specific energy that, you know, I have to convince people that comes with me. You know what I mean? And I think that's what makes it difficult for a lot of people. So when they have to conform into what is the next new thing. They're trying to figure out how am I going to do it with this existing image that's not really me. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, but I feel like you have your life, you've gone through different stages. And when I was talking to one of my friends about interviewing you, both of us were like, it's interesting how you've gone from someone that was singing about being locked up to now somebody that is really trying to like change the world and build a city, give people energy, all. And it's, to me, I'm always talking about how certain lifestyle is glamorized, and how I would love people to kind of step away from that and do something different. And I think you're a good example of that. But how did you get from singing about your being locked up and the life maybe that you used to live to this kind of almost like a 180, a total different person? Like, how did, to me, that is what is I find quite fascinating.
Right. I think it came with age.
Right.
Experience, it also comes with just seeing different things. Like, you gotta understand, like, when I was first coming out, I was surrounded by a specific environment. And in that environment, it was survival of the fittest, it was survival in general, and then it was always about trying to figure out what is the next step to get me out of this situation. And then once you're out the situation, it's like, okay, how do I stay in this situation without having to go back to that last situation? Right. So as you start to move forward in life, you start to travel. And when you travel, your eyes are open differently. You see things from a more, bigger perspective. And the lens that you used to see things through before, you see it differently. And things that you normally understood one way, now you understand it differently because you accumulate more and more information, right? So as you get older, maturity kicks in. You start, you know what I mean?
No, but I understand what you're saying. But some artists, they travel, they see the world, right, and they still just stay in that same place. They don't go from it. It's just still, the music is still, right, you're not even living that life anymore, but it's still, you're still talking about that every minute. And it's like, oh, you've seen the world now. You're not living that life anymore. Why are you still talking about it? So I think not everyone does that. You have done it, but not everyone kind of says, I'm seeing something different now, I'm going to talk about something different, or I'm going to try and do something different.
But I think it goes back to artists or people trying to maintain a specific image that definitely
right, what
doesn't.
You were saying before, yeah.
Yeah, it's not really them. So they so afraid to let go of the image that people know them from, that they can go around the world and experience different things, but just don't share that knowledge because they're afraid that people are going to look at them differently. And I think people that live with the thoughts of caring about what other people think of them also never really advance either, because they never really living for themselves, they're living for everybody else.
So earlier you were saying about TikTok. So your new EP, TT Freak, that's in collaboration with TikTok, right? Talk to me about that, because I know there's a lot of conversation around artists and TikTok and why people are making songs for TikTok and it's taking away people's artistry and all this, but now you've decided to collaborate with them. Why did you decide? What was that about?
Well, me, I see TikTok as an opportunity.
Okay.
I see it as a huge platform. I see it as a way of also opening up the opportunity to create and discover a new audience.
Okay.
Because I think it's been a quick, 13, maybe 14 years since I released my last album. That's crazy. Like, when I look at that, I'm like, man, where was I? Like, the time flew by so fast. But then what woke me up was the fact that my catalog was restreaming and kind of resurfacing through the TikTok platform. Right. They reached out and said, yo, your catalog is the biggest and the most streamed catalog on TikTok. And I was like, what is that? That's how like out of the loop I was. But then when I realized I'm looking at the demographic that's actually on TikTok, that it made complete sense to me. Because this is a generation that wasn't around to experience my kind of music at that time.
So when you say collaboration, when you made the EP, did you make songs in mind for TikTok, or was it like these songs are gonna work well on TikTok, or what does that mean?
Yeah, it didn't even matter what I felt would work or not work on TikTok.
Okay, right.
I just do what I do.
Okay.
And my catalog worked without TikTok even being invented at the time.
Right.
Clearly, whatever I do now should work clearly, easily on TikTok. And that's how I looked at it. But then it was two trends on TikTok. One specific, though, that I was like, yo, this is hilariously funny. I got to make a song about this one. Like, I just had to do it. And it was one of the trends when they asked the white girl, what's your favorite curse word? And she was like, probably fuck. I literally made a real song about it. And it was like, I was like, oh, this is dope. This is going to be crazy. That's the one song that I said, okay, this is going to catch on TikTok no matter what. Right. But then I had to make the theme song for the whole album itself, and that was TikTok Freak. Right. Yeah.
What's your definition of a freak?
Well, there's two types of freaks, right?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, one is obviously the sexy type freak. That'll do anything, whenever, however, whatever, whenever, the W. Right. And then you got the weird freaks. Right. Like, they're just weird and just completely non-understandable, like just far gone to the point where you're just like, okay, that's or he's or she's a freak. Right. But then you got the third one, which is both combined. And that's most people on social media.
See, I would like to, I talk about sex a lot, by the way.
Right.
I talk about sex a lot. When you say freak, you're talking about sexually, you're talking about just as a person.
But that's why I said it's two types of freaks.
Okay, right. Okay, right. Cool.
You know?
I'm probably more on the sexual side.
On the sexual side?
I like to think that, but then you meet people and you're like, actually, maybe I'm not as freaky as I thought I was.
You're probably not as freaky as them.
Well, yeah, but then you're thinking, maybe I'm not, because the stuff that they're saying, they think that this is normal, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Do you get what I mean?
But I don't think that stops you from not being a freak, though.
There's levels, I'm guessing, to this.
Nah, it's only one way to be a freak. The question is, how much of a freak are you?
Okay.
But a freak is a freak.
So a freak is a freak. Is how much of a freak are you?
There you go. There's levels to the freakiness.
The freakiness. I feel like this is a song in itself. There's like, levels to this.
I think that's a chorus.
Freak. What freak are you?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I listened to a few of the songs off the EP. I really enjoyed More Than That, because I'm an old school kind of girl. I like old school R&B, and it was giving me that kind of, you know, that nostalgic kind of old school R&B feeling. But I read your press release, and it was kind of, you wanted to make fun music, and that's the kind of vibe that I did get from that. Do you feel like nowadays people are taking music too seriously? Like no one's enjoying it anymore. It's about the numbers. It's about it's just so
it's sad, but but you're right. I just think that people taking it way too serious. Like, bruh, it's just a song.
But do you feel like you can say that because of all the success you've had?
Absolutely, because I always treated it like that. Even till this day, it's just a song.
Yeah, but if you hadn't done as well as you have done in your career, do you think you would have this attitude of it's just music?
Yes.
Really?
100%. Because that's all it is. Like, what does that piece of content have in who you are and how you should act and who you should be and who you should hang out with? It's just a song. Like, really? You gonna take a piece of content that just happened that everybody likes, and now all of a sudden you're gonna use that as a tool or as an excuse to be something different? Like, think about it.
I hear you. But
I never understood that. Like, people be like, man, but you know, you're so famous and so successful, though. So how do you not change? Like, I mean, like, dude, it's just a song.
I hear what you're saying, but I honestly feel, I hear this a lot from like people that have done really well, that it's just music, that don't take it too seriously. Right. But I do genuinely feel that sometimes that comes from a place of privilege, because your music has done so well, you've not ever had the feeling of it, maybe people just being like, oh, this is rubbish.
I don't think privilege I think it comes more from a place of just being blessed and lucky. Because there's a million kids out there with a computer making songs today.
Right.
And as you know, less than 1% is successful. Right? So you could be very talented, then that's a God's given gift. So that's just luck. Mm-hmm. But then it's also being blessed and knowing that, okay, that gift can be utilized to open up many channels and doors that the average person don't have that gift to open those channels and doors. So how do you utilize that gift to create a better environment, not only for yourself, but your family and the people around you? Or are you just going to use that gift to just brag and boast and say, I'm number one? Mm.
Well, when you released Convict, so when you released your second album, Convicted, you sold 280,000 copies in the first week, right? Nowadays, in this current climate, that would be like mind-boggling, because a lot of people we've seen, unfortunately, like people like Sweetie coming out, they only do 2,000, all these type of things that are happening right now at a time where people can, when you was about, we had to go and buy the physical copies, we had to go out and do the, what do you think is changing? Like, what do you think it is that back in the day we were happy to go out and buy the singles, do all these things, now they're streaming? What do you think is happening?
Well, I mean, what happened was that music became free.
Right.
You remember, like, they was fighting Napster for. Like, Napster was the first platform that actually allowed people to view and hear music for free. And then for a long time, majority of the platforms would get hacked, or you put records out and then you got this VPN or whatever that allows you to listen to it for free anyway. And then the companies were all struggling because they was trying to figure out, like, how do we make money if nobody wants to pay for it anymore? Because they can just go on the internet or dark web and get all the music for free, right? So then mixtapes start coming out where you would just be passing your music out on the street out of your trunk. So music just became more and more and more and more free. So there was no incentive to go actually buy an album anymore when you can just find a place to get it for free, you know? And then they start making CD recorders. So you buy one CD and then you take it with a whole bunch of blank CDs and print out 100, you know? So it became more and more to the point where music had no value from a currency standpoint, but it still had value because everybody was still interested. You still go to touring. And then these platforms start coming up that allowed you to actually view, like now really stream it. And then they had to find out, okay, well, who's streaming it and where are they streaming it from? And how do we charge them a licensing fee to stream the music that we paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to create? So then it became a whole other business. Then streaming now became just enough of a business, and they calculated amount of streams that you would actually take and how much it would have costed if you actually purchased it. And that's how they accumulated the cost of what the streaming would cost, or how much an artist or a record company would get paid every time a record was played on the streaming platform.
Who are you feeling at the moment, like music wise, out of the new people, the new, as a veteran and a OG in this thing, do you just sit back and watch and be like, yeah, I like this person, this is this, or I'm not happy with the music right now, or this is blah?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I ain't gonna lie to you. I was demotivated for a long time in music. I just felt like it wasn't a traditional. I mean, it wasn't original enough. Like, it was so copy and paste. If one person made a hit record, then everybody wanted a hit record like it, to the point where everything just sounded like one long ass song on the radio. Yeah. So it just didn't really give me no justice. But then, as the Afrobeat scene started to grow, it felt better. It gave me more energy. Wanted to, like, whoa. Then as that's building on the west side, on the south side, you got Amapiano growing, which is this equivalent to what our dance music is in Africa. Because when you take that tempo, when you take electro or electronic, it actually blends perfectly. So now we got culture on both sides of the aisle, right? That's when things started changing for me. But then, you got artists like Black Sheriff, who I think is monster.
Amazing.
Like, he
You was
reminds
at the
me
Mobos
so
the other
much of
day.
myself.
You was at the Mobos the other day, wasn't you?
Yeah, I was there.
And I was blown away by his performance.
No, he's a beast.
He's so young. I interviewed him the other day for something else that I do, and first of all, I can't believe he's 20. Second of all, I could not believe, like, his stage presence was so good. And like, I feel at a time now, a lot of young people, they don't know how to perform live anymore because, like you said, everything's on socials and you just go on live and all your following are just happy to see you on live now because they don't want to go out anymore either. So to see someone so young with such good stage presence, I was blown away by him.
But he's African.
Yeah.
We a little different when it comes to stage presence.
Yeah,
now in America, oh yeah, them niggas gonna be wobbling, pants hanging half down, bored as hell, half asleep because they high as hell on stage.
Yeah.
But Africa, we wake up morning, like, look at these YouTube clips of all these kids from Uganda and how they be, you know what I'm saying? Like, these kids are performers. Like, so for us, it comes natural, like to watch the kids from Africa, it kind of it's in their blood. Like, it's like it's second nature. Performance is like a second nature for it. So I wasn't really surprised at all to see, Black, Sheriff, the way he was just a beast. And then
a beast, yeah.
Then Fireboy has just a whole nother type of swag that comes with him. Like, you can tell he's like the new generation African talent,
Because you were flying the flag for Africa, I would say, and Afro beats before it was the cool thing to do. Do you know what I mean? I would say you were one of the first people that were kind of pushing it, Africa, as trying to go against what we see on the TV of how Africa is presented. You were trying to show us like, no, yes, this is there, but also this is Africa as well. Africa is a beautiful place. There's money here, there's richness here, there's cultures here, there's people here, like the people are full of life here. What made you want to do that? And is it nice now to see everyone kind of getting on board and appreciating what Africa brings to the world?
Yeah, so honestly, it feels amazing. Like it feels really, really good to see the world accepting it and seeing Africa differently from how they did. But it feels even better to see Africans and people from the diaspora pushing it more. Because I remember there was a moment in time where even Africans didn't want to say they were African.
Yeah. No, when I was going to school,
You know?
it was everyone wanted. I'm Caribbean, Jamaican,
Right.
and like people would lie and say they were Jamaican.
Right.
You know, and
No,
not
for
say
sure.
they would. It was not. You didn't want to say it now. It's so
Right.
funny because I had someone else on. He's Jamaican, and he's like, back in the day, like the African kids in school, they didn't want to say anything, and all the African guys were like, no. But now, all the Caribbean girls, we want all the African guys now. We're like, oh yeah, you know, like we want to come over, you know, that I. And he was like, that's what he was saying, because now it's cool. You guys are cool, and
Right.
you know, we enjoy you lot. We enjoy the culture. I'm going to Ghana in December. I went to
That's
Ghana
dope.
last year, and I fell in love with Ghana. Like I fell in love with everything about it, just the temperament of the people,
That's amazing.
the culture. I went with my cousin. On the way home, she cried. We're both Jamaican, and
Right.
she wants to live there now. She's like,
That's
I
dope.
have to get back to Ghana. And I think it is nice. It's nice to also see a lot, like you said, a lot of the American artists as well,
Right.
in
Embracing it.
embracing it, indulging in it, flying the flag for it. And I think, again, the EP, that's the kind of vibe I get when I was listening to it. I was like, I can imagine hearing this in Ghana. Like I
Right,
can,
right,
like
right.
on a night out, I can imagine hearing these songs on a night out in Ghana, and everyone kind of just enjoying it. What do you think though about within like the Afrobeats culture, the kind of constant like comparison between the artists? Do you think that is just something that is always going to be a thing? Like people always constantly comparing like Wizkid and Burna, and
Right.
is there ever going to be a time where everyone's just like, we're all cool, it's fine, we don't need
Well,
to compare
actually,
each other?
yeah, everybody is cool and fine. I mean, but I think that comes with Africans were naturally competitive towards each other, especially.
Right,
Because
right,
I think
right.
we had that same tradition in soccer. You know, in football, every country had their one player that they, compare each other to. But music, I don't think is no different. But I do believe that because Afrobeat hasn't diversified itself yet musically,
Okay.
everybody's gonna get compared because Afrobeat just don't, in my position or my idea of Afrobeat, that it doesn't stop where it's at. There's different sounds of Afrobeat that other people haven't tapped into yet. Everybody's just doing what's hot or
Right.
the sound and the wave of Afrobeat that's successful, so everybody's jumping on that wave. But there's other musics that's clearly compatible to Afrobeat, other rhythms from different parts of Africa that's more Afrobeat than Afrobeat itself. You know what I mean? Like if you go to certain places in Senegal, you got a side of music that's called mbalax. That rhythm is totally different. That could be easily transposed into what we're doing right now, right? If you go to, like, prime example, Congo played a huge role in making Afrobeat itself very popular because they came with fashion and certain dances and hip movements and stuff like this, but they just didn't speak English. It was more French driven.
Right, okay, yeah.
You understand?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I get what you mean.
the foreigners didn't know the difference. But when they started speaking English, coming from Ghana and Nigeria, they can kind of understand what they were saying, so it was easier to adapt in places like London or Canada, and now in the United States and globally. Music lists are always the biggest records have always been English speaking. So that was one of the biggest advantages that Ghana and Nigeria had, was the fact that they was fluent in English. You know what I mean? But other countries were actually way more farther advanced when you're talking about the cultural side of it. It just they couldn't relate and translate their language to the outside world.
When did you, as a young person, realize that you had this special talent when it came to music, the ability to kind of, yeah, when did you realize this? When did you figure it out, if that makes sense?
Honestly, I never thought I was really talented.
Really?
I just thought I was different. Because at the time when I did Locked Up, I didn't think like that was a huge hit record. Yeah, so I never really thought that I was actually talented. I just thought I was different. You know, because coming from, like, most of the times when I made records, I always made it because it was more like a hobby for me, right? And I didn't really have no, no one to really vent to. Because at the time, in that specific area of time, I was into a lot of illegal things, and I just did most of my dirt by myself. So if I was going through a specific situation, it's not like I had nobody I can really talk to or trusted to talk to about personal things. So I just wrote about things. So that habit followed me in jail. So when I got locked up, I just naturally wrote about being locked up. So it wasn't the idea of, okay, this song is going to be the biggest hit record in the globe, and it's going to relate to everybody in the struggle, and everybody got locked up is going to rock with this record. It was like, okay, cool, I just got out of jail. I'm not going back into the streets. So how do I move forward and still be able to survive? Okay, I got all these records. I got to figure out a way to sell them. So as I'm shopping songs to sell for other artists to sing, I'm heard and like, wait, this song is dope, but who's the guy singing that song? And that's how I got my record deal.
Do you still remember that feeling?
Yeah.
Do you still remember the feeling of like it doing really well and it blowing up, and now you realize that your life is probably changed?
No, but see, the beginning, it wasn't going nowhere. No one thought the record was gonna go.
Right.
It took a whole year before radio even picked it up. Like
right,
a whole year just marketing, promoting. I mean, it was like I definitely didn't see success in my future. I was already making my contingency plan B to,
what was your contingency?
Figure it out.
What was your contingency plan B?
Go back to what I know best.
Right.
Go back to the hustle and figure it out,
Right.
It was like, but then right before that threshold hit, I got a call from a friend of mine who knew Styles P.
Right, okay.
Who was actually locked up at the time.
Right.
And I remember reaching out to every rapper trying to get a feature. Nobody wouldn't do it because they felt like the song just wasn't hip hop enough for them. And Styles was like, man, I'll rock with this record, man. They play it in the jail because they used to have little mixtapes and radios around. He was like, man, this record's my favorite record. And he didn't even charge me to get on the song. He actually featured on it for free, and it was his voice on that record that changed everything. Like he made it a hip hop record.
Right. Okay.
Because he started from the top of the song, Locked Up. And
Yeah.
It was like, woo!
Yeah.
It just changed. It changed everything. It made even the song change, and that's what made me say, man, I need to do more songs with hip hop guys.
Right. Okay.
So that's why I was featuring with so many hip hop artists to the point where they started, categorizing me hip hop.
Because do you
but
know
I was
what
never hip hop.
Do you know what's so mad? Now that you're talking to me, it's like, yeah, I've always seen you as obviously you're a singer, but it is mad that your packaging feels hip hop. Yeah, but now you're saying this to me, it's like, right, actually, yeah, this made now you're because in it, yeah. We was having this is a personal joke, inside joke between me and AKON. Like, I'll tell you guys later, yeah. So you guys don't. Yeah. But that is actually really interesting. Yeah. But then, at what point when it started to go? Then at what point were you like, rah, my life has changed now? This is some weird shit happening. Like everyone knows who I am. This is a big thing. And then was there the pressure? Because I always say this to people, like, I love when I get to speak to someone who has a hit or music actually that just transcends time, right. And what does that feel like? Are you constantly kind of trying to get to that feeling that you had, with Locked Up when it was at the height of it? Or do you kind of just let that sit and be like, that was that moment and now I'm moving on and I'm trying something else?
Yeah, I always looked at it like that was that moment.
Okay, cool.
And I kind of move with me. Like I move, as I grow, my music grows with me.
Right, yeah.
And if you listen to my records from day one, it starts super dark. Yeah. And you can feel what the environment I was in. Then the second album, which was Convicted, okay, you can feel that he's a little different. He's a little bit more comfortable. He's got more things surrounding him, and it's like you could tell so it went from having nothing to having something, and then it was like you can just see it. Right. And that second album, I think, kind of gave you more direction that I was getting more social, because I had women in my life. I'm singing about it. I'm looking at it, talking about it, and then the third album you can tell I'm reflecting a little bit more into the success I'm at and realizing that the responsibility actually exists.
Right.
Right?
That's interesting. Do you feel like you have responsibility?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Because I speak to a lot of people and they kind of, it's kind of, well, this is my life, innit? I talk about what I want to talk about. Whoever likes it, likes it. I ain't got no responsibility. If the young kids copy me, who am I? That's not my business. Kind of speak to their parents.
That shows to their character too. That just shows how selfish they are.
Well,
And that also shows that they don't recognize the blessing when God gives it to them. Because I don't believe that God gives anybody a specific position that kind of highlights you from everybody else if you were just a normal person.
right, okay.
He wouldn't give you that opportunity. He wouldn't give you the wealth. He wouldn't give you the success. More so, when I say success, I'm talking about popularity and celebrity.
Right.
Success, obviously, everybody has their own purpose or what their definition is to it. But I always looked at it like the moment God shines His light on you, everyone notices that you're there. Right. Okay. That means your responsibility. You may not know that you have one yet, but it's there. That's why you're in that position. Now it's up to you to discover what that responsibility is. But I don't believe that everybody's just, that we're just put in this position for the sake of just putting into that position, or you was put in that position because you think you just worked hard to be there. No, you was provided a gift by the Most High for a specific purpose, and now you have to figure out what that is.
And what do you think yours is?
Mine is to develop Africa.
Right.
I knew that when after Locked Up was successful, mind you, I was working, constantly working. I didn't even realize how big I was until I started traveling.
I saw an interview where you were saying that you was getting booked so much that your brother
I had to get a double.
Your brother was doing some of your shows for you. That's crazy.
That's how you know. That's when I was like, okay, when I'm too big to take on all these shows, that's when I was like, okay, I think I might have made it, but I don't know yet.
Right.
But when I got on the plane and went to Africa and did my first show back home for the first time, and I saw how many people came out for me, I was like, yo, it scared me. Like,
really?
Because at first I didn't think I could. First of all, imagine believing that you can never draw that many people out.
Right, yeah.
The only people that used to draw people out at that time was politicians during elections. I was a rapper from so-called America, well, considered a rapper, even though I never rapped, but they, in their mind, oh, it's hip hop. You know how it is in Africa, right?
Yeah.
So it was crazy when the politicians were looking at me like their peer. That's when I was like, okay, this is serious. This is definitely bigger than music.
You mentioned the ladies. So you believe in polygamy, right?
Yeah, it's part of our culture.
Right, okay.
Absolutely.
I agree. I do not think. Okay, what?
Wait, do not think what? Continue. I gotta hear this one.
Okay, so I always get like dragged for this because I always say I don't actually think men are naturally supposed to be with one woman.
No, you're right.
I don't think that it's in you guys. I don't think however, if you decide to be with one woman, then you should commit to that. It's a choice.
But it's not naturally.
I don't think it's naturally in men to do that. And I always go back to biology. I'm like, the fact that men, if they wanted to, can impregnate a woman every single day of the year.
Right.
If they wanted
that
to. That
alone tells you that nature wasn't set up for us to do that.
And women I only can have one child a year, right? I can't, biology will not allow me to do it.
Right.
So I always say, I think that men are not supposed to be with one woman. However, society and religion, culture has told us, or some Western culture has told us that you're supposed to be with one woman.
Right.
How does that work for you? What does that look like? What does like polygamy look like for you?
I mean, for me, it looks normal because it's culture for us. Right. We didn't go outside of our African culture when we got to the Western world. See, the flaw that the Western world made is they created all these rules, first of all, without putting nature into account. And the best way to understand the washing of your brain is about control. And here they have this society thing where they create it's almost like they play the role of God where they feel like they have to control the population. So rules are set in place. to control the population. When you go to third world countries like Africa, like India, like certain parts of Asia, China, they'll tell you that we're overpopulated.
Right, okay.
There's no such thing. You know how big the globe is? You know how many spaces right now that are completely empty that has nothing but animals and trees that we still haven't facilitated with people yet? But more than anything, like when you look at this human species, yes, we're very intelligent, but sometimes we're too smart for our own good, right? If you look at any other species, they live by nature's law, not man's law. Do you think they would be able to survive if they lived under man's law? Absolutely not. The reason why there's no conflict with other species when it comes to anything domestic is because they follow nature's law. Just imagine, right? Let's say a lion, for instance, because they have the most beautiful culture that's really relating to man. Okay, you got the female lion, and then you got the male lion.
Right.
Who's the dominant lion in the family? The female lion. The man does what? He finds a territory, he protects it. So that way the female lion can do her duty and the cubs can grow to be old enough to go off and do the same thing they did. Right. Now when it's time to hunt, the female goes out and hunt, brings the food back. Everybody eats. The man just makes sure that this territory is protected and no other lion can come in and penetrate.
Right.
Now within the female lion, there might be 5 or 6 other ones, but they're all looking for the protection of the male lion. The male lion will go off and he'll come back. Now, if he goes off to mate and come back, when he comes back, do you think those female lions is going to attack him? It sounds hilarious. It just sounds funny just thinking about it, because that's just not how nature provided us to be. Men are natural breeders by nature. This is just who we are. Like you could put 1,000 guys on one corner, and you let one attractive woman walk by, and you're going to see 1,000 heads go like this, like, damn. They don't even know why they're doing it.
Right.
It's just a natural instinct. They just gonna look. You could be walking with your girl on the side of the sidewalk and holding hands, and then a beautiful girl walks by and she says, boy, you better not look. It's gonna take everything in him not to look. He's gonna wanna look so bad. But he don't even know where that feeling is coming from. And that's just nature. That's just who it is. But I always said to myself, if women ever took the time to actually understand men, you guys would control the world. You literally would. I mean, you guys outnumber us 15-1. You're clearly way more smarter than we are. You guys can multitask and we can't. And then you guys always have power. Like you guys have the power to control us because y'all are receivers and we are naturally givers. So we give you everything you want. The only difference is that we took the time to understand you guys better.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far.
No, that's the problem. That's the problem right there. Women have never accepted the fact that we understand y'all better. Why do you think it's a man's world?
I don't know about you understand us better.
It's okay. No. Listen,
I mean, I was with you to this point. And go on.
Listen what I'm trying to tell you.
Look, I'm being typical woman
now,
aren't I?
Do you believe that you understand men?
I feel like I have quite a good understanding of men.
Do you believe that your girlfriends understand men the way you understand them?
I mean, from what I see, no, not necessarily.
Exactly. So there's a small percentage of women that understands the concept of nature and men and how it goes together.
So do you agree like Nick Cannon and his spreading of his seed?
100%. I agree with him 1,000%.
Oh, but no.
That's how life is supposed to be.
No.
Why not?
Because
he's rich.
No, but this is wait.
Let me finish.
Okay, go on.
He's rich. He's responsible.
Is he?
Yes, he takes care of every one of those children.
But this is the
and the baby mothers with it. And they hurt for nothing and they live comfortably.
No, but what about the kids though?
What about them?
Because this is what I mean about men, right? You guys think that just having kids and giving money is enough. But what about the time? No.
He's there for every one of them.
How? There's no way that you can
Are you serious, Nick? He's there for every single one of those kids.
There's no way that you could have
12 it is. I got 9, and I'm there for every one of mine.
So every single time you're at every single recital?
No, that's a white man's thing. Who gives a fuck about a recital?
No.
My job, seriously, my job is to, listen, my job is to raise my kids.
No, but this is...
Hold on. To be responsible.
Yeah.
To be understanding, to protect their mother, to give hand with their father and assist with family planning, and to be responsible adults.
Okay, but what about
my job ain't to be doing all that extra stuff, that all these holidays and recitals and all that. Now, guess what? While I'm taking care of my responsibility to make sure the family has a roof over their head and food, if I have the time to do that and show love, yes, I will do that. But my responsibility is to make sure that they grow up responsible, strong, and become a real, input to society.
Yeah, but you're not then, if you're not around them enough to give them
That's
emotion.
false. That's not true. Because communication allows me to be there every day. That's
Yes.
what a FaceTime phone is for.
No, but that's not the same as
It
if
is
you
the
had
same.
no
Listen,
AKON.
oh, no,
Wait,
no.
let me
Okay.
finish.
No, real quick,
Let me
real quick.
finish.
I'm gonna cut you off real quick because this is very important.
No, but
No.
Okay,
It's
go on.
very important. Okay. The reason why people like me can't spend every single day and minute with their children is because the mother's job is to be there with the children. I'm the man. My job is to provide comfort so the mother can provide and raise those children to be like me. Now, if it's a man, when a child gets to a certain age, as a man, that's my responsibility now to show him what a man's role and responsibility is. But you can't expect a man to conquer the world if he's home with children.
okay, but if you had 2 children, then maybe the 2 children can come with you all over the world.
But why would you want to take children all over the world with a man?
Oh,
that's so womanistic and woman. What man do you know is gonna ride around here with their children? Like they don't. You know how weak that looks for them. That's
are you
not.
for
That's
real?
not. Like who does that? Like listen.
No,
so
no,
you
no.
mean to tell me
No, no,
as a
wait.
woman you're gonna just pass your responsibility to me? No, take the kids to work.
No. What I'm saying is, okay,
I'm listening.
is that fair enough? You're saying multiple wives and all these things, great, right? And you've got your kids, but I'm saying that there has to be a level of actual presence that you are there in your child's
I am
life.
there.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about in general now.
But
Okay.
most men with multiple wives are there.
No, but if you have 12 kids, there's no way that you are able to give your 12 kids the same amount of attention.
Can I tell you something?
Wait a minute.
I know parents with 2 kids and they don't give them the same amount
Well,
of
that's
attention.
fine. That's cool. But
Every
I'm
child attention gives, no, listen, every child, you give them the attention that's needed for them. Not every child is going to be on the same mental capacity either. Some kids need more attention than others. Some a lot more understanding, some catch up a lot quicker, but most of the time it's all about communication. Listen, in life there's roles.
Yeah, no.
A man has his role.
Yes.
And a woman has her role.
Yes.
But the day the woman believes that the man is supposed to share her role with her, then that means she's lacking.
So you're saying that the woman is the only person that needs to be raising the child within the house?
That's her responsibility.
Yes,
I don't go pull my wife out to the construction site to go pull nails and 2x4s because that's not her place.
No, but we're talking about 2 different things
No,
here.
it's the same thing.
No.
Just because you as a woman believe that that job is simpler in the house because that's easier and
No,
more
I'm
comfortable
talking
for
about-
you. For a man, it's a lot harder. A guy ain't got time to be in the house all day with no kids.
No, but no one's saying that, to be in the house all day with the kids. I'm saying that if you have 12 children,
Right.
you cannot divide your attention equally amongst those children. One of your, a couple of your children are going to feel like you are not there for them. I don't care.
But that's still Western. Listen, let's prime this out. But going back to nature again.
Yeah.
Before there was civilization and we were just cavemen, right? Before the responsibilities and the holidays and the piano recitals and the ballet recitals, before any of that existed, a man would do what's naturally comfortable to keep the earth preserved. And that's to populate the earth. He's gonna mate, and he's gonna mate, and he's gonna mate. He may go from one side of the equator all the way to the other side of the equator. There was no child support. There wasn't no man's responsibility towards his children. It was just about life being created. Then structure slowly evolved into nature. But when nature was being evolved with structure, the structure was being created without putting nature or even involving nature in the structure. So then you have all these rules that don't even physically, mentally even work. And then this would create so many problems because women grow up with these outlined thoughts of a man is supposed to do this and a good man is supposed to do this. And you create these responsibilities that don't even come naturally for a man. So a man has to struggle to create happiness in a home with rules that he don't even confide with naturally. So it creates a problem. So what happens is the day women stop and realize what a man is from a nature standpoint, I guarantee you a lot of problems that we're dealing with, it won't even exist because the responsibility from the woman will be accepted. The same way the man accepts his responsibility, but he got to the point where mating is a responsibility for a man, but he's embarrassed to mate because women feels like he's cheating.
Well,
Exactly.
Well, if he's in a relationship and
A relationship? What is that?
Oh my God, no way!
No, but think about it. Again,
How do we get here?
it goes back to.
Did you say you said
hold on,
relationship? What
hold
is
on.
that?
It goes back.
But then you've got how? But if
Okay,
you're
okay. Prime example. No, just hear me out. Hear me out. Okay. Let's say relationship,
right,
and then you got marriage.
okay,
What's the difference today?
between a relationship and marriage.
Yes. A boyfriend and a girlfriend.
There's
then the marriage.
just
What's the difference?
a paper,
A
basically.
piece of paper.
Yeah.
Now, is that logical? Is that even right? Is that even real? You mean tell me a piece of paper is the only difference between marriage under God and a boyfriend and a girlfriend?
But the boyfriend and girlfriend is still a relationship.
But what's the difference now?
No, I'm saying relationships as a whole, whether you're married, boyfriend or girlfriend, a relationship, there's still a relationship there, no?
But
you still believe in a relationship.
But what's the difference?
The paper.
There's a reason why marriage is supposed to be taken a lot more serious than a relationship. So if I have a girlfriend,
Yes.
she's a side chick, but we got a great relationship. But then I have a girl who's my wife. They're both in a relationship,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So why is it that this one is way more serious as a wife than a girlfriend who I'm in a relationship with?
Because you've decided to take that extra step.
Oh, I decided to take the
Or
extra
we
step.
decided to take the extra step.
We decided. But what's the extra step? The marriage?
Yes.
Okay, now, being that they're both pretty much the same and there's only one piece of paper that combines the two, as a girl or a guy that's in a relationship, what is the motivation for that couple to get married if it's just for a piece of paper? What's the motivation?
Commitment.
That's in a relationship.
But I guess when you decide to get married, there's a level of commitment now that is different to the boyfriend and girlfriend.
And what's the level?
It's the paper.
Whether you married or not, the rules still apply in a relationship.
Of course, but what I'm saying is, I don't even know how we got to this relationship
I
talk.
love it. Keep going. Because I'm trying to understand why you believe that my position is completely awkward.
No, because I just think that, I think there's studies that show that having a nuclear family and two parents within your household, the child will probably do better in life. Not necessarily, not always,
Who's doing the study?
Okay, I know. Okay, we're gonna go here, but I'm just saying. But what I'm saying,
Right.
and not even that. I know I come from a single parent home, and my mum done a very good job with me. I'm very happy with what she done, and I'm so happy with that.
Right.
But I know that there's probably certain issues, or not issues. I don't like using that word. There's certain things or characteristics or ways that I am. If my father was probably around and in the household
Right.
and contributed to certain things, evolving me as a person, there's probably certain things that I wouldn't have issues with, if that makes sense.
Right.
You know, my attachment style to men or to whatever, like when I look within myself or when I when I go to therapy and all those type of things.
Right.
So I'm talking from experience. So my thing is that I just think that if you have that many children, it's hard to put back into that many children.
But
and that's
it's
my
actually
only thing.
super easy.
And I feel
What's
like
hard
men,
is
one
putting
second.
into those children with these rules that don't collaborate with nature. It's the rules that make it hard. It's not the father's position. Do you know how many baby daddies want to be there for their children, but can't because the mother has all these outline rules of what he has to be able to do just to see that
Yeah,
child?
well, no, that's wrong. I
Right?
believe that's wrong.
But that's
100%.
one. And number two, even if those rules didn't exist, and that man wanted to go see his child, because of the emotional attachment that that woman has, if that man is with, or even talking, or blatantly even spending time with another woman, that will affect his time with his child.
We'll agree to disagree on that. I agreed on the polygamy thing, the children thing, maybe no, we have a different opinion on that. But what I did want to talk to you about was your ability to spot talent. Like how you people like Lady Gaga, T-Pain, all these people that we admire, we play their song. How do you manage to notice that star quality in somebody and know that this person's gonna be a thing? How do you do that?
You know what? That's honestly, I never even knew how I know. Like that's clearly a gift. I believe it. You know, how everybody has that pulse, and certain women have that intuition that just never fails them.
Right.
It's almost like an intuitional quality that I have when it comes to artists. Like, soon as I see it, I'm like, oh, that's a star. But then, soon as they show me what they do, I can tell you if it's just a look or a feel, or if it's something that's fully packaged. Sometimes you can see a star that may not have all the talented qualities there, but you can just tell by his demeanor, his focus, his understanding, and his humbleness if whether or not you can install that talent with him or her. Right? Some people got natural talent. It's just born talent. They just got it naturally. But then they ain't got the style. They ain't got the look. They ain't got the swag. They don't have the energy. They just not star quality from a vision standpoint. So their career will only go but so far because they don't light up the room when they walk in there. And then you got some people that just light up the room when they walk in there, but they don't really have that much talent. So it's very rare that you find a person that actually has super talent and light up the room.
Who would you say is that now?
Today? In which genre?
Any, like, within hip hop culture, popular culture now, who would you say you look at them and it's just a total package. They walk in the room and it's like, boom, I know this is
Beyonce.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
But if you say earlier or later,
yeah.
Earlier, before that, I think she's the last of that.
Right.
Believe it or not, I believe she's the last of that type of artist.
Okay.
You're not going to find that no more.
Yeah, I agree.
But today, I think is more what people relate to be what's big and popular is controversy. And I think that's the reason why you don't find too many stars like they used to be. And there's not that many people that light up the room because they come with the energy of what made them popular, which is not oftentimes positive. So it's hard to find a superstar today that just, when they walk in, they light up the room. You know what I mean? And that's yet to be discovered.
Have you got any questions for me?
I got a lot more questions for you. I think I'm gonna bring you on my podcast.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, that's good, because I can talk a lot, you know.
Especially the relationship side.
Oh my God,
Because what I want to do, I want to bring you and a few other women. Because me personally, I was always interested in understanding the woman's point of view. But one thing I realized that there's a 1% of y'all that understands it.
And you know what, I don't necessarily condone men's behavior. I more understand it, and I don't get pissed off. And I feel like us as women, we get pissed off with men because we don't understand, if that's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
And whereas me, I understand. I don't expect anything better. So if I find out that my partner cheated on me, I would be upset, but would I be shocked? No. So when the man goes and sleeps with someone else, and I think women don't understand that sex for us is not what sex is for men, right? So we don't understand that a man can sleep with someone and there's no emotional attachment there. It was just, I needed to try something new. And I needed that for that moment. But we don't get that. So we
Because
can't,
women don't do that.
Because we don't
There's
do
always
that.
a moment of, there's always an attachment somewhere emotionally.
So
sure.
I always say these things, and I get called pick me online, and you just want to be picked so much. These men, they're never going to pick you. And I'm like, it's not that I want to be picked. It's like, sis, are you going to keep crying?
Right.
There's no point of crying. They're just going to keep doing it. Right. So you might as well just get into your head that this is how it is. And you just move along with it and hope for the best. And I don't know if that's me being just accepting it or whatever, but this is kind of where I'm always kind of stuck in the middle of, I know how it works. How I would like it to work is different. How it works and how I would like it to work are two different things. 1,000%. So that's where I stand with all of these things. So I would love.
Well, actually, I think your stance is actually very accurate, and you're dead on. And honestly, jealousy is nature. It's impossible not to be jealous.
Right.
I don't care who tells you that they don't get jealous. There's always going to be that one person in their life that they're going to feel that feeling with. Right. It's natural, right? But at the end of the day, I think today's women, they base their relationship around sex. And I believe that's the wrong approach.
But that's because I think historically, that's what we know men like you just said earlier, like men want to have sex. That's what you want to do, plant your seed. So because we know that, that's why sometimes that becomes the focal point of it, because that's what we think. That's all that men want, because that's what we've been told. And also that's all we've kind of been shown. Like very rarely do we meet men that take, you know, are emotionally invested in you or care about you, or do you understand? So that's kind of what we've been told. So
But you'd
now,
be surprised. Most men always come off from the gate actually feeling for you. What happens is it's the behavior that rips that feeling out. The moment a man comes into a home or into a relationship that he feels that he can't be free, he disattaches himself. Like if I come into a relationship and I meet a girl and me and her click immediately, and I believe that I can be who I am around her and don't have to hide, don't have to lie, I could just be me freely, she's the one that I will grow to love. It ain't gonna be the one that tells me, oh, I can't do this, or who's that in your phone? When the moment the man feel confined, completely, he will, I promise you, he's gonna detach himself. He may not show it to you because naturally he's a giver, so he's not gonna wanna hurt your feelings. So he's gonna conveniently lie to protect your feelings, but mentally he's already out. He's already looking for a woman that's gonna allow him to be who he is.
wow, it's been an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Where can the people find you? Where can they, give them all the details.
Well, the good thing about me is I'm centralized. You go to AKON.com, you can log on to everything that I'm attached to. Or if there's any socials out there, just go at AKON and I'm right there and popping right in front of you.
Well, thank you so much. It's been an interesting conversation. I've really enjoyed it. I've had a good old, I love these types of conversations. But guys, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and tell your friends and your family and everybody. We out.